Okay, so in this pre-press tutorial, we're going to talk a little bit about our spot colors and particularly how this applies to silk screening. So most of our silk screening files should be set up in Vector. Vector gives us the sharpest, clearest renderings, and because we build them in Illustrator, we don't have to worry about dots per inch, meaning that as things get bigger, if it's a small resolution, it's going to get pixelated. So they build these files in vector software like Corel or Illustrator, so that if they want to put this onto, say, a XXX large shirt, they can scale it and not worry about it pixelating and getting out of focus like you would have to worry about in Photoshop. So that's why we build this stuff in vector software. So with spot colors, ideally when you're putting stuff together in spot colors, you're going to want to put it all on layers that are organized by the spot color. So in other words, everything that's dark blue in here is all on its own layer. Everything that's light blue, in this case it's a screen of that dark blue. Everything that's green is on its own layer, and everything that's black is on its own layer. So you want to organize your spot colors by layers, and your spot colors should be based off of process colors, but they have to be a spot color, meaning that if I want to make this red, I can base it off of, say, my red palette here, and let's just say, let's back up a second, and we're going to select same fill color, and we're going to make it red. Okay, so everything that is that blue is red, but the problem is that in silk screening they have to use spot colors, so they can't mix transparent inks on top of one another. It's literally a plastic, almost like a latex paint. So they can't put cyan, magenta, and yellow to make red. It's got to be its own red, a spot color. So that means what you would have to do is you would have to change the swatch, and you can do this even with Pantone colors. So we'll go to our Pantone colors, and we'll solid coded, and we'll just type in 287. All right. So I'm going to put 287 into my swatch palette here, and we're going to select everything that's red, same fill color, and we're going to make it this 287. They can't print Pantone colors, and if you send a printer your file and it's for silk screening and set up to Pantone colors, one of two things will happen. They'll either send it back to you saying, hey, we can't do Pantone colors, or two, they're going to do the trick that I'm going to show you guys. So so they freak out when it says Pantone. So you can fix that by just double clicking the swatch, and instead of book color, turn it into CMYK. Make sure it's still under color type, it still says spot color, and instead of Pantone you can say, I don't know, I don't want to name it dark blue because we already have a swatcher name there, and we're going to click OK. And so now I've created a swatch based off of Pantone. I've just named it something different than Pantone. I changed it from book color to spot color, but that's a way I can use colors from Pantone booklet if I want to ensure that I'm going to get that color. But ideally, any of these swatches, so we'll go back and we'll change this. Let's say select same fill color, and instead we're going to make it this dark green, and I'm going to click him, and we'll say select same fill color, and we'll make it kind of a light green. All right, so these are again just kind of spot colors, and based off, well, they're not spot colors yet, they're process colors. So what I would have to do is I can click on her, and here's my spot color. If I double click on it and I just name it dark green, and we'll just name it it dark green here. Oops. And I'm going to change it from process color to spot. And click OK. And so now anything that's that spot color, I want to select it, or whatever was the process color. We're going to select the same fill color, and we're going to change it to my dark green, which is a spot color now. And the light green, same thing, is it's a process color right now, so I'm going to double click on it, and we'll just call it light green. And we're going to change it to a spot color. And so now it's a spot color. So we'll change this guy. We're going to change him to my spot color light green, and so on and so forth. But yeah, you literally can double click on any of these swatches that are default swatches, change it to spot color. Just make sure you name it whatever it is so that the printer understands what color you're actually dealing with here. And then it'll create this little white kind of triangle here on the lower right corner. That tells you that that's a spot color. If it doesn't have that triangle on it, it's a process color. But when you're dealing with silk screening, they have to be spot colors. So that's how you deal with spot colors in digital prepress when you're dealing with silk screening.